Meanwhile, over in the Middle East, a judge in Israel has blocked Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's firing of the country's top intelligence official. It comes amid growing protest over the collapse of a ceasefire in Gaza and what it could mean for final hostage negotiations. CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio is reporting from Tel Aviv this morning. So, Ramy, the Israeli army announced this morning that it will expand its ground offensive in Gaza. How intensive is that going to be? And I guess all hopes for a second phase ceasefire are rapidly fading.
It definitely appears that way over the past 4 days, Vlad. After what Israel Katz said, the defense minister, he's now threatening a major escalation. He's now ordered the IDF to seize more areas in the Strip and for troops to expand the security zones around Gaza. Those apparently were outlined earlier this week in maps and flyers that the IDF dropped. Katz is also warning that strikes will intensify even more than we've seen in the past 4 days. From early Tuesday, those initial barrages of strikes killing an estimated 600 people or so over these 4 days. The new strikes from the air, sea, and land, he says. And he also says that it could pressure Gazans to move south. And remember, over the past 2 months, over the ceasefire, thousands, tens of thousands of people moved back north. So imagine the flow back south if this were to happen. And he says they could even start the transfer of residents out of Gaza if anyone wants to. This is a voluntary basis, but of course that's based on President Trump's proposal. We know that's controversial. Katz says, though, that it's about the hostages, 59 dead and alive from what we understand. He says the more that Hamas refuses to release them, the more territory it will lose to Israel.
So let me ask you about the firing of the head of Shin Bet, the intelligence organization. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this has been rapidly developing since last night. The new development just in the past hour or so is that the Shin Bet chief isn't out of a job just yet. Israel's High Court issued a temporary injunction on his firing just now. They'll hear petitions over the next 2 weeks. But I think put this into the broader context of Israeli politics. His dismissal last night was unprecedented. This is the first time that the head of the country's internal intelligence services, some compare this to the FBI, has ever been fired. His name, Ronen Bar, a cabinet fired him in a unanimous vote. Netanyahu said that he had just lost faith in him and that his allies accused him for the failures, the security failures of October 7th. Specifically, they say that he received intel the night before, but he didn't act on it. But on the flip side, got to say that Bar was leading a probe into Netanyahu. So that raises eyebrows as well. He was leading this high-profile corruption probe into the influence of Qatar into the prime minister's office. So Netanyahu front and center there. But critics of Netanyahu say that he's trying to save his own skin by firing the Shin Bet chief and then potentially installing someone who's a friend.
Wow. All right. Ramy Inocencio reporting from Tel Aviv for us this morning. Thanks, Ramy.